Alright, this is video 3 of 5, and I'm going to show you a little bit different method of putting wires together with just the wire and heat shrink itself. That's it. You're not using butt connectors, you're not using solder, you're not using anything. And this can be a strong repair if done correctly without stressing the wire too much. Back in the day, in my younger years, I felt like kind of like the minority of the shop, right? I was the only white dude there. There was a Russian guy, there was an African American guy, a couple African American guys, and there was a couple Hispanic guys, and the Russian guy ended up leaving. And I was the only, like literally the only guy of my color, my skin tone there, right? And my mentor was an African American dude, 15 years older than me, and he would basically take me under his wing. Everywhere he went, I would go. If he went to lunch to the barbecue smokehouse, he'd tell me, "Hey, load up, let's go get wings. Let's go get, whatever it may be that afternoon on special." And I started learning early on from him. And he said, when I'm in an engine bay and I'm doing engine work and stuff like that, I don't like a lot of the ways that people are taught to repair wires and stuff. If I find a broken wire on one of the Super Duties I'm working on, I don't repair them like normal people do. He will take two pieces of wire like so, and he won't twist the wires together all kind of weird ways and stuff. He said, I like to take the wires and I'll feed them back together like so, and I'll let them start to intertwine, and I will twist one side one way, and then I'll isolate it, and then I'll grab the other side and I'll twist the other way. And he said they're still fairly straight, but they're intertwined, and it's a very, very, very strong repair. And he said if you do it just right and you have enough wire and you actually do it very, very, very tight, you can actually start to bring that wire in very, 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 very nice and neat. You're not twisting it all back on itself and doing all these kind of crazy repairs. And he said if you pull on it, it's a strong repair. They don't want to release from each other. And it's a very, very good, very clean repair that you don't need solder for. You don't need any of that stuff. And he said sometimes I'll even give it just a little bit of tension to help it lock in just a hair, and I'll leave it just there, just as it starts to level out. And then he said, then I'll grab some heat shrink. You don't need anything huge, nothing, no big bulk. Just find something appropriate sized. And because you didn't glob anything up, you didn't use butt connectors or anything like that, he said, I'll just take a basic piece of heat shrink and I'll slide right over it like so, and I'll keep it nice and aesthetic. And I'll get my little blowtorch. And he said, look how clean that looks. Super clean. There's no chunks in it. There's no globs in it. You can lay it right back in the harness. It's going to barely take up any more space than it did before, and it won't come apart anymore. You didn't need a bunch of solder. You didn't need a bunch of butt connectors or anything, and it's a very clean, very, very, very aesthetic repair that when you lay it back in a loom and you start to wrap everything up, you're not getting a loom that's bulging because of all the wires you repaired. And he said, I've literally went through engine harnesses that have been destroyed in accidents and stuff like that where we can't get new harnesses or the customer doesn't have a lot of money, and that is my repair. That's it. I don't go any further than that. I just nicely bring the wire hairs together until they start to mesh, and I'll twist one side one way, and I'll twist the other side the other way, and then I'll pull it back on itself, and you can feel the tension, you'll feel it slip, and then it gets tight, and that's it. I'm done. And that's now my permanent repair. No solder, no nothing needed, and I'm not worried about bad connections because I laced them all together and just did a nice gradual twist. But because of how they split and went in together, and then you kind of just lock them in, when they pull, it's almost like a little bit like what is that Chinese finger contraption that traps your fingers. You can do a little bit of a light situation like that with the wires as well, and you don't need solder. I figured I'd share that with you as well. This is video 3 of 5 of different types of wire repair.